Hi, my name is Cheri, and today I am going to be showing you a tutorial on how to do a fun kind of diorama card for summertime. So when the new catalog came out, I saw this set, Sailing Home, which is a fabulous set, a stamp set. You can get the dies with it, and you can also get it in a suite. If you get the suite, make sure that you sign up to do my free online class, because for June, this is one of my sets. It's part of the reason I wanted to get this set done, so you could, or the card done, so you could see the vast potential that it has, because the paper and stuff that comes with it is navy and Sahara sand, so the samples a lot tend towards masculine cards. This is not a masculine looking card. It's not overtly female either, but I wanted you to see the potential. But do check out my free online classes. So head over to my website, it's stampinonline.com. But when I first saw this stamp set, I knew that I wanted to mix it with one of my favorite sets from last year, which is Magic Mermaid, because I knew the scale of her would go with the line art of this, and then I also combined it with Sea of Texture. So these two are bundles, and they have dies. So I've done some of the die work and cut them out. So to get it to fit, this card is actually 6 by 11. So if you have an envelope maker, you could make your own envelope, or you could put it on the front of a gift bag or on the front of a package, because it's a little bit more of a special card. So I've done most of the die cutting for you, but I did want to show you how I made the front panel, because we have a rule that when you die cut, you don't send things through speed bump. But for this one, you have to, because you see the card's 6 inches. It couldn't be any bigger, so that's kind of what based my size, and it has to go through this way. So just be gentle when you put it through, and just do it once. Once we'll get it cut. This is the stitched rectangle, and it's the largest of the stitched rectangles that we have. So just line it on there square. So it's straight in the middle of your front panel. And you're going to hear it kind of creak. This is why we don't like to run them through this way, because it's hard on both your die, hear it, and on your machine. So just run it through once. We won't be doing this card at any of my classes or camps, but I know several of you already have it. So just do it once, because it's cut. No need to run it back through. So you have this panel here. Save this, because this is a nice piece. In fact, I used my piece to stamp my pieces on, but since I've already done them. So then I have this piece here, and because this, if you were doing a smaller card, then this is okay for a front panel card, but we've got a lot that we're going to stick on here. So what I did was I cut another piece that's 5.5 by 6, and just take a pencil and kind of mark where you want to lay your die. Which would be better if I moved my machine out of the way and got it on here better. But that'll help me line it up. So run it through one more time. And this will give me, when I'm all done with my card, and now this time I'll show you the difference that sending it not speed bump makes, because this one I can offset just a tiny bit. And you'll see it doesn't have that giant crank. So there's a little tutorial for you in why you don't do speed bump. See, that was just a whole lot easier. And now I'll be able to take this and line this up here and just reinforce my front panel, because it is going to have a lot of stuff stuck on it. So even though the card has a lot of die cutting on it, mine is done. So now we just have to color all these pieces, stamp up our little frame and our inside, and then keep this later for mounting it. So I have a little piece of scrap here. You want to have this nice and creased. So if you have a bone folder, go ahead and get that nice and creased. And then let's just start stamping. We'll just pull some stamps, because I've got them all 3 sets kind of mounted all differently, because I didn't really know what I was doing the first couple of times I created. So there's probably even some stamps on here, like the small sailboat I didn't end up using. So I'm going to use Memento Black. This is the lighthouse. And open it back up and put my lighthouse. None of it has to be exceedingly perfect placement because it's all just giving you a like an ocean feel. So there we've got the lighthouse. This is the small sailboat. I'm not going to use that. Grab my large sailboat. Push this about here. And then I got the little birds on there, but I don't have the right color ink. And then I need the saying. Because always do your saying at the beginning. That way if you mess up, well, there's two things. On this one, if I mess up, I'm just going to stamp it on a scrap piece of paper and stick it over the top. Make sure you've inked it well. I also should have made sure, yeah, that you can see it in my window. You want to make sure that it shows through your window. I think that's all the black that I need, but I'll lay it aside in case I need some more. So then let's see, what else do we have? We have the birds. Let's go with the birds, and I think let's do those in Pool Party. So I've just picked a bunch of colors from the ocean. And the birds, you want to ink them gently because if you ink them too much, you're going to get a whole bunch of ink around the edges, and we don't want that. We only want ink on our birds, not on the edges of our stamps. And you also want to kind of angle them differently so all of your birds don't appear to be flying in the exact same pattern. There we go. And then I'm also going to take this and put a couple up on the top panel of my card. So this time I'm going to take my scrap paper and stick it in here. That way, if I overstamp, it's not going to go on the inside of my card. It'll go off the edges. And let's get some over here on this side. If you have a problem of catching the edges, it's because you're pressing too hard on your ink. So just give it a gentler touch. You don't need to press super hard. I think that's all the Pool Party that I need. I'm just going to kind of move these things out of the way a little bit because I may need them again. Okay, then let's go with, okay, this little thing is like, yeah, we'll go with it. No, I think I might color. Let's color and then we'll come back to these. Because some of it I'm going to stamp over the top of my coloring. So I've got my blends. I'll go back and finish stamping at the end. And I'm going to color. You can see all my stuff that I've already done. The Mermaid does not have a die cut, so I just hand cut her out. And then I need my anchor, which there's the outside. There's the die. So some of these are on vanilla and some are on shimmer white. It just depended on kind of what size I had laying there. And on my sample, I think some of them are even different than what I've done here. So we'll just pick up the colors and kind of go as we go with the coloring. This is Petal Pink, and I'm going to use it for her skin tone, so I'm going to brush really quickly. It dries lighter than what it appears. She's not going to be orange. But you also don't want to go too many coats over because the more you go, the darker it gets. So that's all we need for that. Then let's grab our gray granite. And that can be the anchor and our lighthouse and some of our boat. So start with your dark gray granite. This is a new color. And gray granite is my favorite of our 48 colors right now. So I'm just going to do the dark bullet tip kind of along where the stripes are on the lighthouse. Don't know why I've got that sitting underneath my arm. I don't need that there. And then the same on the anchor. I'm just going to go where the dark already is on the anchor. And then over here on my sailboat, I'll just go a little bit on the sail, just a tiny bit. And maybe a tiny bit on the boat itself. And then I'm going to take the light gray granite and fill in most of the other areas. You can leave a little bit white because you know most of the things in the sea are either weathered or covered in stuff from the birds flying by, right? So just kind of, it doesn't have to be perfect either because especially this inside of the card is kind of like something that's further away. Then I'm going to take my color lifter because I do want this to look, you can see my lighthouse now, I want it to look a little bit more aged. So take the color lifter and kind of, we're not lifting color, we're more blending it. And that'll lift some of it out and it'll give a little bit of that aged effect. So I think that might be all of those that we need. Leave those aside just in case I decide I want to hit it again with a little, oh, I didn't do my seat. My ink needs the light gray. There we go. And I'm going to use a little bit on my color lifter on it too. Because the stuff that's been in the ocean, you know, it's a little worn. And then I'm going to take I've got my light and dark crumb cake and then my ivory, and I picked my ivory just so I would have a different color of neutral for my mat, the sails. And I'm just kind of highlighting those and kind of going around. And then I've got my dark and light crumb cake. So I put the dark where the shading is already, and then I'm just going to hit the rest of it with the light. And with this, you don't want to put too much ink because it's such a tiny area, and if you do, it's going to bleed out. And then I'm going to go back to my color lifter. And kind of blend that together because I don't want my sail to be dark, but I wanted it to have some color to kind of pop up off that page. Then I'm going to take my dark crumb cake one more time now that I'm done and kind of get that masked. I'm not great with the ocean words or the sailing words or the farm words, so thanks to all of you that sometimes give me the right words, especially when I'm trying to stamp and talk and look at my camera all at the same time. Sometimes I use the wrong word altogether. And sometimes I don't know what the word is. So thanks to those of you that help me. So here's one of our new colors. This is an appropriate seaside spray. So I'm going to take the dark first. And I'm using the brush tip for this. This is why I decided to go with coloring first and not stamp those little stamps that I had a second ago. So just kind of give it some water and then take the light and kind of blend that up and around. Just like that. So I know it looks kind of like a hot mess now. It'll look better in a minute. Then we want our mermaid. I thought she might have hair the color of the sea. Oops. So I want my fine tip because you can see that she has like wisps of hair. And I'm not going to stay in the lines because that's far too much time. But just kind of give the illusion that you stayed in them. So just do some strands of that and then the dark, and then fill in the other ones with strands of the light seaside spray. And she has a little thing in her hair holding her hair in, so we'll get that in a minute with a different color. And I am going to come back in a minute when that dries and get a little bit more of the dark. So here we have the coloring so far. And now what's really fun, and I have a tutorial where I spent a lot more time on her what's her mermaid tail than what I'm going to spend now. So the trick is to this is to take your brush tips of your light colors and just pick a section. So this is Pool Party. We have a section. And then I've got Flamingo, and take your brush tip and pick a section. Because she's just kind of rainbow, and I wanted her to be the brightest thing on my card. And this is Pineapple Punch, which here it looks nice and dull. It is not. It's a pretty bright. She needs a little bit more section there. And then I've got Purple Posy, which is another new color. And just kind of fill this in everywhere you think that you might have. And I went with it last because I like that color. So now we have kind of like an alligator effect, maybe, or a fish effect of all of the light colors. So then go back and take the bullet tip of the light color, and you don't want all of them because you want some of them to be light and some of them to be dark, and this is the fastest way to do it. Just hit some of those light colors and then just kind of some tips of her tail with the dark colors that are the same over the top. So here we've got Flamingo, so go back to where you hit the Flamingo and just get individual fins. This will make it look like you spent hours coloring her, but I won't tell anybody your secret. As long as you send them here to my site to see how to do it. Grab your Pineapple Punch and do the same thing. The pineapple too, you can kind of go over a couple of the other colors if you want, because it kind of, you know, it'll go green and orange. It kind of changes them because the yellow mixes nicely. Highlight the corners of her where it hits, just for a little accent with my yellow. And then this is the Purple Posy. So the one I did last year, I don't remember what colors we used. I think it was new in colors last year too, because I remember the sea foam, but it would be totally different colors. The pineapple was in it too. But last year we had new colors that were different than these. Okay, and then I'm going to use this on the little braid in her hair. And then I'm going to go back with the Pool Party. Oops, wrong tip. Just kind of blend some of this together. Which I hope you can see that. Even though those are all colors, it mixes beautifully. It gives a nice fishy rainbow effect. Let's see up here, I'm going to hit some of these. And then I'm just going to pull in a little bit under on her hair. And then I'm going to go back one time with the dark and just give her some highlights of the dark sea foam. Because every time you add some color, it gives another layer, so it makes it a little bit darker. So I could even go back in a minute and hit it again, but we'll just leave that for now. So let me show you how cute she is. See those layers of color? And since she's the focal point of the card, I want her to look super pretty, because mermaids are super pretty, right? Okay, so let's finish stamping now. So go back to the little I don't have stickers on these because these are before cling. So this has like little bubbles and sand dollars and stuff in it. So now I'm going to take the Seaside Spray stamp pad down here along the edge. I'm going to fill in over where I stamped. I'm just going to go over the top of my scribblings and just kind of add the sea life down there. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's kind of random, and we're going to end up putting more stuff in here. So right now we're kind of going for art. So that's, I know I need that again, but we'll cover that up. Then this is from the Mermaid set. And I want to use the right color because I didn't clean it. I used Purple Posy, which is not available right now. I have mine from when it was available. And mine doesn't stamp perfectly well, but it's a light color. And on this, it will be fine. So this is some seaweed. And I'm going to stamp it up along the edges. It stamps better on the stamps that are line art. It's on the bold stamps that you see it kind of well up. And then I'm hitting it down just to kind of, as we go down, it's going to make a design down there of being in the ocean. And I'm going to flip this over, kind of hit it here. And I want all these to be a little bit different, so just hit a different spot every time. Some high, some low, random bits apart. Nothing like stamping with your arm totally crooked and upside down. It's like a workout. Okay, so that's it on that one. And I think that's it for the Purple Posy, but maybe not. I have so much going on this card, it's kind of hard to tell. And then we're going to take, which other things do we have? We have two more little pieces of sea life, and I'm pretty sure these are both from the set that has the octopus, which is Sea of Textures. And the bigger one I did in soft sea foam. And again, you're just going to fill in some places in the bottom inside of your card. And you can get all the way up on a couple of them and then just down and kind of give some depth. And then the same thing on this thing here. And let's get some over up the side of there. Maybe over here too, it's pretty. It's a nice color. And then I have some pieces that I ran through the die cut machine. Here it is. This one didn't pop out. This is from the new dies, Sailing Home. So you get this piece. And it's on shimmer white because I had a scrap of it. Get those pieces popped out. So I'm going to just lay this on here. And then I need another scrap. Just a scrap piece of white. I cleaned up my table. Normally I have lots of scraps laying around. Here's the one where I cut out my mermaid. So just take this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, so it doesn't matter if it gets everywhere, because I don't want it necessarily to be all seafoam. Otherwise I would have used a piece of seafoam paper. And just pop that up, and now we have a piece of seafoam seaweed. And then we've got this little one, which was Highland Heather, because I wanted one little brighter piece, pop of purple. And since this was the tiniest piece, I went with it for the brightest pop. So this is Highland Heather. And just have little pieces of some ocean life here. And it can be all totally random how you do this. Just fill in however. In fact, it's a little addicting. And they can go high or they can go low, however and wherever you choose to put them. So there we've got that. Get that one out of the way. And then I have, where did I put the little piece here we go. This little guy here, no, I don't think I have one. No, I didn't do any of those in Highland. This one right here I did do in Seaside. Pop this out of here. And you could do them in whatever color, whatever. You could go more neutral. You could go a whole lot more bright with this card. I thought about trying to get some red, white, and blue and doing more of a 4th of July kind of look for it. But I wanted to use some of our new in colors, so that was what ended up being how I picked my colors. Because I had new blends. So, you know, sometimes it's all about playing with the new toys. So there's that. And those all have a little bit of sparkle because they've got shimmer paper. And then one of my favorite pieces is the net. So I'm going to do it in gray granite. And I just kind of randomly put it. And you want to, again, to make sure that you don't stamp the same section everywhere. And then in here, just kind of add some of that. Maybe add a tiny bit there, just for some more texture. So let's see, what pieces do I have left? Oh, I have this long skinny piece I'm pretty certain that comes from the Mermaid. And I did it, oh, I did do it in the blue. That's why I still had the blue there. So it's in the Seaside Spray. And then I think that's all the stamping. It's kind of hard because I have them all mismatched on stamps, and some of the stamps I don't even have laying here because I moved them out of the way because I don't think I used them. I had lots of them mounted and then didn't use them all. So again, I'm going to go high and low so I can get a couple more of them on here, because this is a nice skinny piece and we have, you know, this nice skinny thing over here. All of these colors dry a little bit lighter when they're dry. And then again, I'm going to take it in here, and you're going to see this is going to really make this one pop. By adding that darker color right here, we get a little bit of something to the forefront of our design. So I'm going to fill this in, but you don't want them all the same height. But now it makes it look like this is the front of our scene, and that the boat and the lighthouse are more towards the back. So there we have this. Now we just need to mount all the pieces that we've die cut to the front of it. So let's start with these. This is out of Purple Posy, and it's the little rope that comes in the Come Sail Away. I'm going to switch from my scrap paper to our silicone sheet. The silicone sheet is great for when you have little pieces that you want to run your snail over and you don't want it to stick to your table. So here's a full piece, because it's not, our card's not long enough since we went with a funky size. So I cut 2 of them out. You can see that just resists, so it won't stick to my table. So I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to go off the edge of the paper so I can trim that. So that way I don't have to worry about it being straight. And I've got the other one here, and the new dies are fabulous. So when you cut them out, I've got ink all over my hands. They already have the pattern in them. So this, I just need about half of it. And then you just match that up right there. And then you have the whole length of your card. And now just trim both your edges. Okay, so what else do we have? Let's start from the, oops, you got lots of ties and lots of scrap paper. Okay, this is a piece of vellum, and this piece comes from the Sea of Textures, and it makes another piece of like netting. So you get this fun thing, and I just used vellum. So it would be see-through. I thought about using one of our new colors, but I really liked the clear. I didn't want it to add any more color because I wanted to be able to see through all that we just did. So for these, I just took glue dots because you don't want it to stick to the back of your, like you don't want to glue your card together. So just figure out where you want this to be. So let's go. I think I had it the way I wanted it the first time. So yep, like that. And then just pick the points where it can hold it so it's not going to stick anything back there. I may run out of glue dots on this card. So we'll get 3 points of this, and now there's nothing holding it back there that's going to stick it down. And then we've got our pretty sea foam piece. Let's put that here. And again, I'm just going to add a piece of glue dot so it doesn't stick to anything other. Once your card's all done and you're sure you don't want to move anything, then you can hit a few more glue dots. But using the glue dots also allows you to move stuff if you don't like where it ended up. Then here's our octopus, which is from Sea of Textures, and I stamped him in gray granite, which that's why I like gray granite. Is it gray? Is it brown? Is it Sahara sand? It's a fun color, and it kind of picks up whatever you put it with. So let's stick him over here. Well, I can get a glue dot. I was looking at the fact that this is not punched out instead of, there we go. So let's put him about here. And then we have our anchor. Since I'm running low on glue dots and didn't pull any more over here, I'm going to go ahead and use that there. So you can see I'm just kind of building up a scene. And then I've got my mermaid. I'm going to stick her over here. And I'm going to use glue dots for her. And what I did for her, because she doesn't have a whole lot that's holding her to the card. So you don't want to get her where she's going to stick the card together. So I actually put my glue dot on the card. And then you can kind of put her. I'm going to turn her this way for a second because I don't want her. Yeah, I got her going the wrong direction. See? The glue dot, you can move it. And the nice thing is, if you're going to put this on top of something, you can kind of go off the edge of your card too. Since it doesn't have an envelope that it's going to have to stick in. So here, stick your glue dot on the card and not on her, so it's not gluing your card shut. And then I can tell that needs another one. But running low on glue dots, let's do this. So now we've got these. What else do we have? We have this little piece here. So let's grab a glue dot for the seaweed. Stick that here. And then we have our sand dollar. And the nice thing about the sand dollar is actually 2 pieces. You can put it back together if you choose to, because it pops the star out, which you can see flung across the table. Let's get all these out of the way now. But I'm going to take this one and up here where my thing is just not quite so beautiful, I'm going to have a little overhang right here. And my I start right here. I'm going to fix kind of right there where the point of that shows. So here's what we have so far. Now I can move this for a minute. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm going to add some shimmer to her fins, because you know fish fins have that fun Wink of Stella look to them, and also to her hair, and then over here a little bit to my octopus. And then we have some fun embellishments. So for her hair, I'm going to take our petal pink rhinestones, because she's a princess mermaid. And then give her a barrette that kind of goes, that her hair has a little, the thing kind of drops down on it. And these are in color rhinestones. So I'm just going to pick a couple of the colors that I used. So I used the sea. Because you know there's buried treasures in the ocean. And this kind of gives us the feel. You don't want to use all the same sizes, so just kind of go with different sizes. Then I'm going to pick one of the peacock, just because it's not a color we used, but the green mixes with all the greens nicely. And I am going to take where it says have a magical birthday. I don't want to like have it be obvious, but I'm just going to brush a little bit of color over the flowers and the word magical. I'm not coloring them in, but just a hint so it's not kind of floating out there with no color when everything else on the card has color. And then again, I'm going to hit just the word magical with some Wink of Stella. And then I've got our pink thread. Well, where's the end of it? Here's a piece that's already cut, I guess. I must have used it one time, and because I used it just a minute ago. Okay, and I'm going to wrap this kind of around the frame. And, you know, because we are going to be putting something back in here. The other thing, the other hint that you want when you do a card like this is you don't want to stamp on scrap paper, because you know we do that a lot because we can. But if you stamp her or their octopus on scrap paper, then when you go to open the inside of your card, you're going to see your ugliness on the back. It already kind of bothers me just a tad that I can see my stamping through. I mean the coloring through with the blends, but you just got to get over that. So this, I'm just kind of going with the theme of the netting. Just add a little bit more pink to it. So this is our pink thread. So just weave it back and forth. On my other one, which I will put a close-up on my blog, I kind of went up and around the sides. I'm not going to take the time to do that on this one. It's pretty, but it takes a few minutes. I don't want to do that while I'm on camera. So you just want to make sure that you end up, I don't know what that piece was. I must have wrapped it back around there, but had another little piece on it. Just make sure you're going to end up on the inside of your card, right here. Because we're going to put that frame in here to kind of give it some stability. So go back to where our frame is, buried under all my blends. And make sure that, because there's probably an up or a down, so it goes this way. Put your adhesive on here. And do remember to go, if you like these sets, this Come Sail Away Sweet is part of my free online classes for this summer, and it's part of the June one. See, it's what I get for not using my little silicone pad. So if you like it, go buy it now and you can sign up for my free online class to go with it. So put these on here. And if you have to trim a little bit, it's the same color, so it won't matter. Because I cut this just a fraction smaller. So it's overhanging just a little bit. You could even leave that if you wanted because you don't really notice it. But just take your snips. But with all this weight on here, this reinforces your front. And then that way, if they want to keep it to stand up, it also holds it better. So here you are. It's a fun summer birthday card for somebody special. You can, and there's between the 3 sets, there's all kinds of sayings to pick from. There's adventure, there's graduation, there's retirement, there are birthdays, there are thank yous. There's all kinds of sayings between the 3 sets. So I hope you like that. I will take some close-ups of them on my website so you can see them. But it's a super fun thing to do. You could even go bigger with it. You could do a fun framed piece. If you go to the beach this summer, you could do a fun scrapbook page or even a framed piece of art and add some of your family's photos and get one of the shadow boxes and do a framed piece that way. So I hope you enjoy that. You have a nice day. Bye.